Hello and welcome to the Enlightened Society channel. Today on Enlightened Conversations, I have with me the prominent and accomplished Dr. John Kalaras. Dr. John Kalaras, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
joining me today. And before we delve into your accomplishments and everything like that, I just want to first start off with your background and where did you grow up and where are you from?
Well, I came to this country back in 1973 to continue my studies. I already had a degree in business administration from the University of Athens and a master's degree in industrial studies. But for me, Europe was not just enough, so I wanted to explore the American dream. So I came to Chicago to continue my studies, where I got another master's and a doctorate. Then I continued with my academic career, and I've been a professor with Keller Graduate School of Management since 1979.
Since 1979.
Yes, 39 years. I bet you were not born when I was this.
No, sir, I was not. And so you've been in Europe, you've been in the U.S. What other countries have you been to?
About 15 countries, most of them in the former East European section, like Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine. Actually, I just came back from Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Egypt, and a few other countries where I can go and show them our American methodology of doing business, because to most of them, these methodologies and techniques are fairly unknown.
And you talk about the techniques being unknown, and you have a company that teaches and equips these people, and that company is Quality Training Institute. Can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. Actually, I can tell you how I started the company, because you'll find out today that I'm not a very smart person.
Okay, I think you are smart.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll prove that I'm not. It was 1983 or 82 or 83 when I was telling my students at the graduate level that if you think I can help you in your company, invite me and I'll do the work pro bono for a day, a week, or whatever it takes.
Yes, sir.
Quite a few of them took me up on that. And I was doing the work, in my view, pro bono. However, about a week later, I received the first check for $10,000.
Wow.
I called the company and I said, my work goes pro bono. I'm sending back that check. And they said, oh, no, doctor, please don't. That's the least we can do for you.
Wow.
We have improved so immensely. We want to thank you. And then when I received a second and a third and a fourth check of that magnitude, I figured, you know what, I probably have something. And that's how I started Quality Training Institute, yes.
Wow, so when you say pro bono, you mean you were doing work for free?
For free, yes.
Wow, and I mean, what caused you to do the work for free? Is it a genuine interest in helping people, or?
Especially my students, yes.
Okay.
I wanted my students to look good to their companies, or they could go to a company and say, I've also done this with Dr. Kalaras, so I just want to help my students.
Wow. And, speaking of the many accomplishments that you've served on the Business Advisory Board of the President Bush.
Yes.
In 2005.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, I was driving to my office one day and I received a call that went almost as follows. Dr. Kalaras? I said, yes. We are calling you from the White House. And I thought it was a prank. And I said, yeah, yeah, right. Okay. I said, no, Dr. Kalaras, the president is here, wants to talk to you.
Wow.
Then when I looked at the number, it was a 202 area code. I figured that was not a prank. So I said, let me pull over, because in all fairness, my heart started pounding at the time.
That's pretty serious. Right?
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Long story short, he asked me to serve on his Business Advisory Council, which I did for 5 years, advising him and his committees on training and educational issues. Okay. Actually, he was kind enough to even congratulate me on a recognition that I received from UNESCO as Professor of the Year.
Wow.
So he also sent me that letter as well.
Wow. And you did get Professor of the Year in 1999, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, how was it that you got Professor of the Year? Was it that you were just really engaged with your students, or was it your academic teaching style?
No, that had to do mainly with what I was doing in Europe, those 15 countries in Europe.
Yes, sir.
And I was lecturing there at universities and big corporations, what we call here the Fortune 500 companies. And my name got known to the European environment So I was invited to certain forums, and after that, they have a yearly competition in academia, and UNESCO recognizes a professor per year, and in that year I was the lucky one.
So it seems that you just have been fortunate in a lot of your endeavors.
Very much so.
So, and you also do public speaking, correct?
Yes.
So, how long have you been? How long have you been a speaker?
In almost the same amount as I've had my company since 84, 85.
Wow. And like, I mean, were you just always a natural speaker, or did you have to practice and do training for that?
Well, there was some natural element there. The attribute was there, but you definitely need to improve it and follow certain rules and principles that professional speakers follow. And yes, I went through that myself. Actually, I've even written a program on that.
Wow.
Yes.
So when you write these programs, like take me through the process of your thought process and how do you implement these different programs to make them help other people excel?
Well, the process is logical and straightforward. Actually has been proven to be a workable technique. First, we identify what are the needs of the organization, whether it is a company, an NGO, whatever the case may be. We identify the needs because we believe that without a need, don't proceed. So you got to have a need. Once the need is there, then we have ways of identifying ways to remedy the need. We look for the actual cause, and we try to close the gap between where the company or the organization is and where they want to be in the future.
Okay.
But we always go for the root cause analysis to identify what actually causes the issues that they have.
Okay.
And actually, if I can pull one of the workbooks that I've designed, I can show you some of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one of the workbooks that we did with a company. You know the company, you've used their grills. It's called Weber Grill.
Weber Grill.
Weber Grill,
yes,
okay.
Yes, sir, I'm familiar
Now,
with
yes,
Weber Grill.
if you go through the workbook, you'll see that we have areas where the participants need to do the work.
Right, correct.
They don't just listen to what we say. They have to actually do the work and fill in the blanks. And there's also at least 2 or 3 people in the room, roaming the room and watching. And if you were, let's say, one of the participants, they would say, well, Q, you are doing fine in this question. You're doing okay with that question, but this one needs a little more work. And you know why, Q? Because you signed here that this is your best. So when you have a workbook that is over 100 pages, and with every page we begin, I don't know if you can read this top up here that says, with every question, I'll be a true professional.
I am an effective supervisor. I will always autograph my work with excellence.
So now when you go through the training to autograph your work with excellence and sign at the bottom that this is your best, we have to make sure that you always put your best foot forward.
Wow.
And that is a very effective technique, and our participants love it.
Wow. And so with all of this knowledge that you have, my question to you is like, where did all this knowledge come from? Did you have a mentor to help you with this knowledge? Did you like read a book that helped you, or was it many books that helped you? Like, where was it that you got your knowledge from about
Excellent
all this?
question. Excellent question. Actually, 3 nights ago, I gave a presentation at this Indian-Japan consortium or forum out there in Shamburg. At that night, my topic was advice from CEOs to CEOs.
Wow.
Because the room was filled a little over 200 people, and most of them were CEOs and presidents of various corporations.
Wow.
Now, the magnitude of this forum, and I mention this because those CEOs were the ones that asked me to be there. Some of them know me, some of them are my clients already, and basically we've developed techniques that begin from the CEO level all the way down to the front line. By the way, the first thing that I mentioned there that night, I taught all those CEOs that to you, ladies and gentlemen, CEO may mean Chief Executive Officer, but to us it means clients, employees, owners, and that is the hierarchy that we place in that acronym.
Wow.
I mention this because if you open it, you'll see here that in this forum, Indian-Japan forum that takes place on December 11th through the 14th in New Delhi, and I've been invited to speak as an honorary guest, the prime ministers of Japan and India are the sponsors and they are speakers.
Wow.
And I'll be sharing the podium with them.
Wow.
As you can tell, I don't know if you can focus in or if you want to do this later, the Prime Minister of Japan and the Prime Minister of India are the sponsors of this event.
Wow. And speaking of other prominent speakers, you've also shared the stage with President Obama, correct?
Yes, I did.
So tell me about that experience.
Sure. That was back in 2005 or 2006, I think, where the Homeland Security Office called me because there was a national leadership conference here in Chicago, and they had a representative from politics, which was the then Senator Obama.
Right.
They had somebody from sports, Bill Cartwright. If you remember the center of the Bulls back in the 90s.
Somewhat.
Bill Cartwright, yes.
Bill
You're
Cartwright.
too young to remember that. They had a person from media, a person from the army, and a person from academia.
Okay.
And I was representing the academic representation on global leadership.
Wow. And I mean, how has your name just expanded to be known globally? Like, is it that you and your company has an idea or implements a thought that no other companies know, or is it just the way that you implement it makes it just so easy to understand?
Again, another excellent question. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, if you go to my website or to my LinkedIn page, usually mainly the website, you will see, while everybody says, here's what we can offer, this is what it will cost, that is what we do, that is what we offer to the public, and they look for the client and money, my website says, how can we help you? And money has never been an issue.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
If I know that a company or an individual has a need and they can't afford the fee, we'll do it pro bono.
Wow.
Actually, what we have behind us, as you can see here, pictures for our veterans, both left and right. We have a program for veterans who, if they cannot afford the tuition, the fee, they're coming in for free. And basically it is for free. And the program, folks, is how to transition to civilian life. So we transition them with any and all training needs that they may have in order to effectively get into the civilian life and be a productive community member.
Wow. And I can just attest to the fact that you genuinely do want to help people, because you're even helping me with this project right now. I mean, with the accomplishments and with the magnitude that you're at, this is not something that you necessarily have to do, but you're taking the time out of your day to help me, so that really means a lot to me for you to be able to do that.
I even invited you to one of my workshops for free.
Right, for free. And it was amazing. And that's how we ended up collaborating. Yeah. But I also wanted to ask you about a presentation idea that you had that I read up on, and it was that women are better leaders, or women may be better leaders, or are women better leaders? So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you how this started. Having been around the world in so many countries, and of course I've met with leaders from prime ministers, presidents, company organizations, after a while, I was comparing, and of course leadership is my forte. That's what the doctorate is on, and that's what I train people mainly on, okay? I was seeing certain attributes that women had that were, in the beginning, different from men's attributes in terms of leadership. To the extent that after 2 or 3 years, when I was watching and observing all this, it triggered my interest, and then I said, I'll have to start accumulating data because there is something here that I want to document.
Wow.
Long story short, I did a 10-year research on women leaders, and it had to be a good research because University of Chicago, actually I think it's right here, asked me to present that work. Here it is. back in 2011 in their annual event that they have. And here's the event. I can let you have a copy if you want.
Women Make Better Leaders.
Women
Okay.
Make Better Leaders.
Wow.
And it is by the University of Chicago, okay, as you can tell. So actually, they still have it on the presentation is still on their website.
Wow. So I would say, like, what is the main characteristic that makes women better leaders? Because I believe that's a very interesting topic.
It is. Well, a leader, by definition, is the person that has the artistic charisma, and that's my definition, by the way.
Understand.
The person with the artistic charisma to influence others to follow willingly in doing something good.
Wow.
Now, think about it. Who do you follow on a daily basis at home? Your dad or your mom? Mom is the one that feeds you, cleans you up, clothes you, and everything else, okay? Mom is the one who extends a helping hand to the child most of the time. Yes, we do have our male parents as idols, okay? However, the female person is the one that usually extends a helping hand and helps others. Now, in leadership, you cannot just be an authoritarian leader because that's not the most effective way of leading. You have to be compassionate. You have to be an outgoing. You have to be caring. Wow. Remember the definition, artistic charisma to influence others to follow you and follow you because they want to. So women have that special attribute, that special trait that people follow them because they want to. But it's not only that they want to, it is because they have extended a helping hand first, by definition. See, in that presentation, I vividly remember that I even have some examples from wildlife. Take the lions and the lioness. The male lion will probably kill the calf where the mother will protect it.
Wow.
Okay, think about it.
Wow.
Okay.
And doesn't the lioness go out to hunt while the male is at home?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
That too.
Wow. I mean, it's just very interesting. And with that being said, you know, that with your presentation and idea of women make better leaders, why isn't it that we have more women leaders now in today's society? Or is it that we do have more women leaders, but they're just more behind the scenes and they're not getting the credit?
Well, being a leader does not necessarily mean that you have to be the top of the corporation. It would be nice, or the top of the country. It will be nice, however, we still have that male chauvinistic mentality, at least in our country here, and many other countries. However, and it's in that presentation, it was countries back in the 1960s that elected women prime ministers. Wow. We still have at least 10, 15 women prime ministers or presidents in various countries around the world.
Wow.
So other countries have been more prone to electing women as leaders or even appointing them to various corporations as leaders. Here, unfortunately enough, we have what we call the ceiling for the females in general, okay, for women in general, and and the male group more or less does not let them excel to their capabilities. And it's unfortunate because, trust me, and I know that I've done a 10-year research, okay? I mean, actually it's more than 10 years, but those 10 years is where I've documented everything. Women have a lot more attributes.
Wow.
Different attributes that men don't.
And do you think maybe in the future that women can break that barrier and they can surpass that ceiling?
Very much so. Actually, that has been happening as we speak right now.
Wow.
If you go back 20, 30 years, you're not going to see as many women CEOs in large corporations nowadays. And I don't want to take your time. I can give you at least 20 different large corporations where women, you know that as well. And your audience probably know that also. We have women, and we'll have more and more because they have that attribute. They have the attributes of a leader.
So do you feel like maybe the ceiling is there because maybe men do not want to feel inferior to women, or you know, maybe it's something of their mentality that just won't allow a woman to be a leader? You know, they don't want to be under a woman. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's very true. It's very true.
Wow.
And it's not the only obstacle that men have in general when they see a woman excelling, a woman deserving to be up there. Actually, one of the books I've written here, Magnetic Charisma, it just went
Full of
on
books.
on Amazon last week.
Okay.
And it talks about the inspirational leader. And here what I've done is the following. I've taken another work of mine that you've probably seen. I don't know if you've seen this before. Let me just turn it like that, and you'll probably take a different picture later. Here I'm comparing the manager's attributes to those of a leader.
Wow.
Side by side, and then I explain the how and why on all of those manager, leader, throughout the whole book.
There you go.
Manager, leader.
Wow.
Manager, leader, on those attributes that I
Wow.
have on that initial listing.
And that is called the magnetic charisma, the inspirational leader. So you have written, how many books have you written?
About 7, 8. I think we have 6 or 7 here already.
Wow. And what would you say is your personal favorite?
The 2 books I have on career success, because that helps individuals, especially young folks like you, excel in life and start on the right foot.
Wow. So have you been getting feedback from people telling you, oh, Dr. Kalaras, thank you so much. Your book has helped me so much. Have you been getting that feedback?
Not only, actually, we don't advertise anymore for our business, for the workshops, because we get so many referrals.
Wow.
Mouth-to-mouth referral, direct referrals. We stopped advertising.
So how much quote-unquote fan mail do you get? Or, maybe like mail from supporters just thanking you in general?
Even if you go to my website, you'll see it's and LinkedIn page, it's in the thousands.
Oh my gosh. So do you have emails just full of
Well, I'll tell you this. Not too long ago, I received an award from the university that I was teaching full-time until 2 years ago. They gave me an award that they said 40,000 students have gone through your classrooms over, at the time I was 38 years in academia, over the 38 years that you served in academia, Dr. Kalaras, and here's an award that they gave me.
Wow.
Because over 40,000 students have gone through my classrooms.
And that's amazing. And speaking of universities, you are the founder of a university. You've built your own university, Arstan University.
Correct.
Is that correct? So, tell me about that process and how did you come about building your own university?
Well, I want to leave something behind when I'm gone, something that will go beyond my books and my teachings, something that people can benefit from globally. Actually, that university that it is established legally and organizationally, and will start offering classes 2018, next year.
Wow.
That is a university that will support students around the world in at least 145 countries. We're not going to advanced countries like Germany, France, Canada. Those countries and the people who live in those countries, the young fellows like you, somehow, some way can afford going to a university, or they can get FAFSA, they can get some type of assistance. There are countries, folks, around the world that these kids have no potentiality of ever entering a university. And we're taking this American-style education to them, as I mentioned before, to a little over 140 countries around the world.
Wow, that's just amazing. And Dr. Kalaras, I just want to thank you so much for taking your time.
The honor is all mine. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.